We are live. Good morning, good morning, good morning, South Florida and hello world. I am Robert Henderson Jr., founder, president, CEO of the Henderson Financial Group. And joining me live here is my brother from another mother, the fabulous, the one and only, the living legend, Mr. James T. Thomas. How you doing, my brother?
There are a lot of living legends, right?
But you are one here with us. I'm telling you, I got to point them out.
Okay. We
There
the
are a
only,
lot of them, but not
I'm the
one.
only
They ain't
one
here.
here. Oh man,
It was
great,
good
great,
seeing you yesterday too, brother.
brother, man. It's always Rob. It looks like when we come together, not only do we come together, but others come together with us, and I
Yes.
love that. And we love the gentleman that was sitting at our table. Yes. Oh, by the way, so that we can bring people up to date. When we say come together, yesterday we had the pleasure of being a part of the Urban Construction Crafts Academy graduation, summer graduation for their students. I don't know what the age group was. Do you remember the age group, Rob?
From 13 to 17.
13 to 17. And young, I mean, it just does my heart good to see young people stepping out of their quote unquote everyday element and step into an arena to do a presentation, to use their imagination. So we got to say salutes to Bill Dozier and his staff and supporters. Wow, that even impressed me even more because we sat at a table with a young man's grandfather who said he missed the first bus. The second bus was late and he caught that one. And he took three buses and an Uber to come see his son graduate, his
Isn't that something?
grandson. Rob, and you could tell you know, he was telling his son how he loved him. And his son, I saw and heard his son tell him,
Grandson, right.
I love you too, granddad. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, to have a man, a male, saying that to his, I know it made his day. It
That's
really
support.
did make his day, man. It was so important. So, hey, folks, no matter what's happening in your community, when you can support people who are doing great things in the community, do it, do it, do it, do it. Because it means a whole lot to a lot of people, and I consider it always as planting seeds, Rob. I tell people that's how we get our blessings by giving.
Yes, yes. We're yeah, like James said, yesterday James and I was on a panel judges, and they had a summer program, and I had spoke to the summer program for kids, and from ages 13 to 17, Urban Construction Craft Academy is where they teach you how to actually build
Woo!
construction, build houses, build buildings, build bridges, drywall, electricity, and everything. And these kids at 13 years old, 17 years old, all of them had five groups, and they all have their own groups, like four or five in each group. And it was a contest on who can build a better house, more efficient house, a more environmental and inclusive house, energy efficient house. And they designed it, and they actually had to use cardboard and actually do the landscaping and actually put the roof on the house. And there was five different models. And James and I was part of a group of three
Five.
other judges, five of us,
Yeah.
and we
Uh,
were judging to see who and giving them points and prizes over the summer. That's what they were doing. And I was so impressed because those kids were really into it, and they learned a lot about how to construct a house, how to build real estate, the plumbing, electricity. I mean, these are skills that they will have for the rest of their life. And I hope they continue to come back, to the summer camp. And matter of fact, Urban Construction Craft Academy, they have this throughout the year. And you know how
mhm.
much it costs? Absolutely nothing. It's free. It's
Oh, Rob,
free.
how can we not support people who are doing things for others and not charging them?
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
that's,
You know?
oh man, I love it, Rob. And the greater part of that is something that I've been studying and doing some heavy study in. Matter of fact, this morning a part of my study was Dr. Claude Anderson, and what I think was more impactful than anything else was for me, even with their projects there, because I mean I think the fifth place winner and the first place winner weren't even separated by 5 points.
That's true.
So and we thought about trying to select two people to be first place winners because it was just that good. But here's the other thing, Rob: working together in community. Oh, Rob, when different and they did have male and they only had one female, but yes, a female was involved because one of the judges, Ms. Williams, said, James T, you think they're gonna have some girls involved in this? Yeah, because she deals in building as well, and she has a business. But it was so impactful to me to say that we can work together in building a community, because there was a time, Rob, when we had to do that. As we were growing up, we could see people who had skills in our community working with neighbors to help them to add on to their homes or to build their homes or to, hey, like you said, matter of fact, I called a friend of mine the other day, electrician, came up from Fort Lauderdale because, hey, I wanted some things done at the house, so that we can have, quote unquote, our monies within our community go around a few times. Word is that in the quote unquote Black American community, hey, our dollars don't even go through our community one time. As soon as we get money, we have to go outside the community to get the job done or to add to someone else's wealth. So seeing these young people work together to build and to imagine, because one of the questions I think I asked one of the groups or a couple of the groups was, hey, what differences of opinions did you guys have as you put together an opportunity to build this quote unquote future home?
Yeah,
and they said,
it was beautiful.
It was good. It was good. It was
good. It was beautiful. And then what's amazing is the support staff. I mean, the support staff. You have dedicated people in the community that actually put their time and effort to helping these kids. I was so impressed, even with the adults and even with the parents that came to support the kids from 13 to 17 years old. Now, as I sat there, I was saying how beautiful it was, and I felt great to be a part of it. As a matter of fact, the few years that I've been a part of it, I remember, James, when you've been knowing Mr. Dozier longer than I have, and then I met Mr. Dozier, and then I met Miss Dupree. And then I found out Miss Dupree and Mr. Dozier was hooked up with each other. I mean, they was basically relatives, kinship.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I gave a donation. And then I was so impressed with Antonio and my daughter Jasmine. My daughter Jasmine, she went to college, FAU. It's a private school, so y'all know what that means in Florida. And she studied physical therapy. And after she graduated, she started working with me because she was saying, Dad, I don't know. I said, now you're going to tell me after you graduate? I said, y'all young people change y'all major all the time. She said, that's what we do. So after she graduated, she started working here at the Henderson Financial Group with me. Hannah, little Charles, her cousin, and they was working here with me. And then I had Mr. Dozier. James, you invited Mr. Dozier to talk about Urban Craft Academy, Construction Academy. So then I told Mr. Dozier, said he was having a program manager program for construction, and I told her about it. And do you know that little mama that she watched that show? She took that class and it just lit her fire. She just metamorphosed. You know how a caterpillar turned into a butterfly.
Hey,
we did not know that she had building and construction in her psyche. And then she took that class and she absolutely said she really enjoyed. I said, you enjoy learning how to build and create and go through all of the fundamentals of strategy and taking something from nothing and building a house, a building, and learning about the plumbing, learning about OSHA, the scientific. And she said it was really enlightening to her. And next thing I know, she graduated tops. And once she graduated from the program, Urban Craft Construction Academy, after she graduated from the class, she got a job interning.
Oh, come on! And then,
then 3 months after interning from a construction company, they hired her. And then after she did a year from that, another company hired her. and she always stayed close to Mr. Dozier and his program. And now she's at a top-notch construction company that's building a $300 million building, and she's involved. She actually learning. She's Dad, I love it. Every day I'm learning. So you remember when I donated, then the second year I upped my donation.
Great investment.
Every time I said, because I see what's happening. So now I'm going to triple my donation this year.
hey, Mr. Dupree, you heard that. Write him down.
Because I actually see this with my eyes, and I go to see, I'm actually involved. This is a program. Think about this. Everybody that's listening to me and see me and hear the words come out of my voice. What if each of us had a family member that knew how to build, knew about plumbing? You can call your cousin, your nephew, your grandson. Come over here, put a fan up for me. Come over here and help me. My roof is leaking. Come over here. I need to change or add a room or drywall. Come over here. I need to put some tile. Can you imagine that? How strong of a community we would be if each of us specialized and did things to help us on our everyday needs and our everyday chores? Can you imagine how powerful that would be? So Jasmine went 4 years of FAU, Florida Atlantic University, as a physical therapist. And now what she's saying, Dad, I'm going to learn all this stuff, stay as long as I can. But eventually I'm going to have my own thing because I come from a father that has his own thing. And that's something.
Love it. I love it, Rob.
So, Mr. Dupree, I just want you to say thank you so much. I got a scheduled appointment with you. I love you. I love y'all program. I see what y'all do. So, anything you need, just let us know.
Hey, Rob, it was awesome, man. And as I said, I've been really studying because of the moves we're making in saying how we must, man, we must build community. I mean, we can say gentrification and and they're not going to do this, but no. I truly do believe that God blesses what we do. So we wait for others to do for us what we can do for ourselves. And if we don't know how, then the first job is learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Then share the wisdom knowledge. My whole problem was I had an electrical problem where the switches weren't talking, as the electrician said. They were communicating with each other, but it wasn't bringing the results. So he sat there and he said, well, I know where the problem is. Hey, we had to go to one of those, I won't even call the name, but one of those stores, and we brought the problem back. He said, boom, hey, not only did the different units speak to itself and operate properly, but they even lit up. I said, I didn't even know there was a light on there. He said, oh yeah, there's a light that lets you know if you're walking around in the dark, you can hit this and you can get light. So Rob, there's so much that we don't know. And a part of what you do is share financial literacy with us about those things that we don't know, but we should be planning and we should be learning.
Right. And we should be planning and we should learn it. And I always say that life is about sharing and learning. And I've been doing what I'm doing here for 40 years. And I look back at my life and I see how I was blessed. And, I made some mistakes, but then I also got back on the right road. And I can look back and reflect and see my path and I can see how I got to where I am now. So today I really want to talk about total financial planning. That's my sermon today that I'm gonna preach about is total financial planning. And I want to go through the steps. And as I'm going through these steps, I want you to reflect and look at your life and look at your steps. Now, whatever steps that you've taken, those steps I would say was for you, your path. And you really shouldn't ever feel bad about the path and the steps that you have taken in the past, because those past steps have been taken by you to teach you for future steps. So I don't want you to feel bad. I don't care if you went to jail, got out, got divorced, got on drugs, got off or whatever, whatever happened, got the wrong job and, you looking, feeling bad. All of those steps that you have taken in the past was really for your highest good. And it was something that you needed to learn. When I say, when you learn something and you look back and say, you think you did it, you made a mistake, learning is to correct the mistake. And until you learn, you're going to continue to make the mistake. I'm reminded of how some people, talking to a guy, he had been married 4 times. And as he was describing to me, the description of his first marriage and the description of his and personality of his second wife and the personality of his third wife. And he was just describing me the personality of the fourth wife. And he just saying he couldn't get it right. And my God, he wanted to be married, but he keep on marrying the same woman.
So he wasn't blaming them, he was blaming him.
Right, because he wasn't correcting his he looked back and reflect and correcting, he can't go that way. I mean, he like them certain high and tight and juicy and whatever, and he kept marrying them, and it wasn't compatible with him and his thoughts. See, so my point is, wherever you are today, when you learn something, you learn that whatever path and whatever steps that you took is for your highest good. Now, wherever you are now, when you're going to look back and say, oh man, I made the wrong step, you learn by saying, don't do that again. In other words, if you was a crackhead and now you're not, somebody shouldn't come to you tomorrow and say, hey, let's do some crack. You must say, no, I went down that road. I'm learning something. If you want to progress, you don't move and go from the 2nd grade to the 3rd grade until you have passed the test for the 2nd grade. Then you can go to a higher grade. It's the same principle in life. You will continue to do the same thing, get the same results until you learn. And do, not just learn, but take action and do it a different way. You follow me? So I want to go back, and as I'm talking, I want you all to reflect on your life and your steps wherever you are. Some of y'all feel like, man, I'm good. I'm living a life I dreamed of, and most people are not. And most people are not, and they're angry, and they feel bad, and they're angry and jealous and envious of other people, But that's not your path. Your path is to look at your life and look at what the steps that you've taken and learn from it. Say, I'm not going to do that no more. I mean, it's like simple. It's like if you were doing a math class, test, taking a math test, and you kept saying 5 + 5 is 11, and the teacher would grade it, and that's wrong. You can't go back to the desk and do 5 + 5 is 11 again and come back and expect a different grade. You got to figure out you're doing something wrong. Your math ain't mathing. That's what life is all about. So now let's go through the steps. Okay, so first is when you're a young kid, you don't really know. Think about, reflect on yourself when you was young, boy, girl, whatever you are. Okay, you reflect when what you was thinking. You got to go back and see what you was thinking. Use your own imagination. Imagination is key. Use your own imagination. How when you was a kid, what you was thinking, how you view life. And then view when you got your first job. What kind of job was that? And when you got your first job and they paid you, when they paid you, did you spend all the money? And most of us probably say, yeah, I spent all the money. I want to go buy some this and that and that. And then when you get your first job, a real job, then they sign you up. You go to the HR department and they tell you about these benefits. Now, when you go on the benefits, you really don't really know what the benefits are. You just know they're going to give you some health insurance, and then they throw some life insurance. 1 time you'll pay, 2 times you'll pay, and you look on somebody else's page and ask them, hey, what do you think? And you get insurance. So you're on the job, you're getting paid now. You probably haven't bought your own place. You probably still living with mom or daddy or grandma or whoever. Think about that. Okay, I want y'all to reflect. Or if you figure like now you got enough money to get you an apartment. But on that job, as soon as you get that first pay, and some of you all got children that's coming out of college, got their first job. They're experiencing this because we all experience this when we get our first job. So today I want to go through this financial planning cycle. So when your mind thinking you get your first job, they tell you, okay, you want to set up for a 401k plan. You don't even know what that is. That's when Wall Street have made a deal with businesses to have a retirement plan. And most young people think about, I'm young, I want a retirement plan. I'm gonna put $25 a pay period or something, a little bit of money, because I ain't thinking about retirement. And then you young, and like I said, the benefits is a retirement plan, 401k, and then they say some of them don't, and some of them do offer it, and then insurance. And there's group insurance. And group insurance means everybody that's on the job get insurance automatically. So your first encounter with protection, why would you need insurance? Just in case you die, your loved ones wouldn't have to do a GoFundMe, and they'll be able to have some insurance to pay you for burial. So you're thinking you have this group insurance and you don't ever have to get insurance anymore. Some people have made the mistakes when they was 21 years old. They got a job working for the state, the county, or the government. And they was 21 years old and they worked there for 30 years. So from 21, 30 more years, that's 51. Maybe they did 35. Maybe they came out, 34. They was 55 years old. And they still had that same group life insurance. That right there is a mistake. Let's stop right there. That's the first mistake that everybody makes. I won't say everybody, but most people, 95% of people make. And I can see why you make that mistake, James, because you working on the company, looking with a company, and you get benefits, whether it's the military or whether it's a private company giving you benefit, or with the government, the Fed, the state, or whatever. Part of your benefit package is life insurance. If somebody could have told you then, listen, even though the company is providing you with group life insurance and it's costing, $5 a pay period or whatever for 100,000 or, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, when you finally leave, get fired, or quit, that insurance is not good anymore. If somebody would have told you at a young age that you should not only get the benefits, group insurance from your employer, the company that hiring you, but since you're young, get you your own personal side life insurance policy, because you're young and it's going to cost little or nothing, but you lock in that low rate and you have it for the rest of your life, because it's no guarantee that company you're working with, you're going to stay there for 30 or 40 years. So you should get life insurance on your own, independently, not just have it from the company. That's the first mistake that 95% of us make. Why do we make that mistake? Because nobody told us. We didn't know. Looking back, listen, I wished I would have known when I was 21 years old to get a cash value life insurance, but nobody told me, and I didn't know. I figured, hey, why should I pay for something? It's like you at home. You're like, why you worried about light bill? Why you worried about food? I'm gonna take care of that. Somebody gonna feed me. You know what I mean? You like, that ain't my job. But this is when you look back on your path, man, if we only would have known. So I'm telling you all this because if you got a niece, a nephew, if you have children and they're young, you got to reflect on what you did not do and what you should have did. You got to pass it on to them. Make sense?
Makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
and stop thinking that because I didn't, I can't.
Right. And then from there, from once you figure out and you call the Henderson Financial Group and say, okay, what type of insurance should I get other than employer? Because the early bird gets the worm. Once you start off young, listen, when you start off early doing something and it appears to be hard, it's only going to be hard for a short time. And then it becomes easy because it becomes second nature. Like I always say, learning how to ride a bike was god awfully hard. You had to fall down. Nobody gets, that's why they have training wheels for some people. In the hood, we couldn't afford training wheels. We just got on a bike and we fell down. If your mama had some money, you can get a bike with training wheel. we couldn't afford no training wheel. That was extra. You follow me? So we had to get on the bike and bust our butt, get sore, get back on the bike if you want to learn how to ride the bike. A lot of people never learn how to ride a bike because they didn't want to go through the sacrifice. But once you learn, man, you was able to ride the bike and ride with no hands. That is how life is in everything. Okay, so let's go back. So the first thing, make sure that your young ones and make sure that they have the outside personal life insurance plan. Now, okay, so a lot of people, when they get the life insurance plan when they're young, they say, okay, including me, if I'm going to get a private life insurance plan outside from what my company offer group term, because it's so cheap, you don't have to do no blood and urine tests or nothing. They just give it to you if you're employed. You know, they give it 2 times your salary, 1 time your salary, and it's cheap. So you like that. But then if you hear somebody say, no, get your outside, if you're fortunate enough for somebody to tell you get an outside personal policy on your own, because you may quit that job or change that job, you want to keep your policy, you want to get it young, then the first policy that comes up to mind is a term life insurance. Now, what is term? Term is the cheapest form, other than group term, it's the cheapest form of personal life insurance that you can buy on the market. Term is like buying lollipops, sugary candy, sweet stuff. You know it don't have no nutritional value, but it's good for the moment. Notice I say for the moment. Term insurance is good for a term. So if you buy $100,000 life insurance and you 25 years old, hell, I was just looking at, a lady, and this lady said she wanted $300,000 life insurance, and she is 43 years old, and a $300,000 life insurance term cost her $260 for the year. She said, "Oh my God, that's all, Henderson?" I said, "Yes." He said, "What's the catch?" Said, it's a 10-year term. No, actually, this is a 15-year term. Mm-hmm. She says, I can get a $300,000 term life insurance, and I'm 44 years old, for $262 just one time for the year, not monthly. If you divide that by 12, I mean, what is that? I mean, that's $20 a month or something, a little over $20 a month. She said, "Oh my God. And if I drop dead in 15 years, before 15 years, they will pay $300,000 to her family tax-free." She said, "What's the drawback? What's the catch?" The catch is when you're paying that $262 per year, not a month, and if you have to die within 15 years.
Within 15 years.
In order to collect, in order to benefit from that. Now, if you plan on going to the doctor, if you plan on watching your weight and watching what you eat, if you don't plan on running out in the street in the middle of a car, and if you plan on living more than 15 years, that's not a good deal. I want to say it again. Term insurance is for short-term fixes. The problem with term insurance is people stay too long. You stay too long. You say you want to get a 30-year because you figure you're going to outsmart the insurance company. But 30 years, you still alive. So all that money that you gave to the insurance company is like the one in the canal because you didn't die. And at the end of 30 years, poof, you have no more coverage. Matter of fact, you got to re-up. You got to sign up. Now you 30 years older. You ain't skinny no more. You fat now with all this food. You done had all kind of ailments. You done had near misses. You look at your medical records and they look like helter skelter. So now 30 years older, you try to get that same $300,000 policy. Oh, they got you. And you like, God, I wish somebody would have told me this before. So you get a job, you get your benefits. They're going to ask you, they can give you group term, get one on your own. if you want to do that, if you want to get a short-term term insurance, get it like I did it when I was in my 20s. I got a 10-year $1 million policy. It cost me $200 a year. After 10 years, I didn't die. I looked like this. I said, what happened to my money? And they say, well, you didn't die. So we keep all the money. That's the bet. Term insurance, you're betting that you're going to die in a certain time. And insurance company betting that you're going to still be alive. So really, you betting against yourself. And you paying them. And you going and getting your checkups and trying to stay alive because you don't want to die. You don't want to die. So you hedging, making sure the insurance company.
So you get insurance for the insurance company.
And that's nothing. They said, oh no, we looked at your medical records, so you're gonna be alive, you know?
You be here.
You're right. And you saying, yeah, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you win this bet because I'm gonna be alive. You know what I mean? All right. So what should you do then? When you're younger, I don't care if you're a kid. So y'all got children, don't get that term insurance. Primerica, I'm sorry. It's good. You can have that if it's short term, but you want to be able to convert it into a cash value permanent policy where the premiums that you're paying going into a savings bucket, plus you have the permanent life insurance.
Whoa, Rob. Don't run past that because that's the strategy. Repeat that, please.
So if you have a term life insurance that's cheap, you want to be able to convert it. Now they give you a certain time. You can miss the deadline. They ain't gonna tell you. You can miss the deadline in order to convert it to. That's like renting with the option to buy. You renting this house, and then one day you want to buy this house, but they tell you in a small print you got to buy it within 5 years. You just renting, and out of 6 year you want to buy it. They say, "Oh, you missed that time. You can't buy the house now for that certain rate." So term insurance, get the term insurance that you can convert it later on when you start making more money and that you can afford more to a permanent policy. And if you don't understand this, that's why I'm telling you, call the expert. Call 305-825-1444 and ask for Henderson. Ask for Robert, and I'll explain it to you. Do it on a webinar, or GoFundMe, or Zoom, and I'll demonstrate it. I'll put your numbers in and tell you, okay? Okay, because I had term, and I converted it to a cash value policy when I was young. Once I figured out, because I did it the first year when I was like 21, I did a 10-year term, $1 million, $200 a year. I didn't die, and then after 10 years, they said you don't have no more insurance. I said, well, I didn't do that again. So I did another 10-year term, and I still was alive. I wasn't surprised I was still alive, but what I was surprised is that they took my money again for 10 years. And this time, the second time when I converted it, first time it was $200 a year for $1 million. After them 10 years, I was 10 years older. It was like $800.
Come on,
$800. A year for the same $1 million. That was $8,000. So 10 years went by. I was still alive. I'm like, I see this game y'all playing. So anyway, only thing that's bad that I don't like about term is you stay too long. It's like you taking a road trip. James, we took a road trip and we say we wanted to actually drive up to Warner Robins, and me, you, Antonio, and we went inside the turnpike, the rest stop. Why did we just went there and just camped out and stayed there? Like, where Robin? Where James? They get to Warner Robins. They still at the rest stop. That's how people do a term. You stay too long. It's short term. You go there and rest until you regroup, use a bathroom, or do something. Something got to change. Then you come up out of there. So when you get a term life insurance, you're young. You haven't made all your money yet, and you want to get the cheapest just to have some coverage. But don't stay there too long because you get older and it gets more expensive. The older you get, life insurance gets more expensive. So you want to.
Rob, I've got a question. I'm going to do like Ms. Dupree said. She says a lot of times when she's listening, since we don't have Linda here, she says she want to jump in like Linda, saying the people want to know. The people want to know. Now, Rob, sometimes certain people in your family, and the roads that they're traveling. So are there restrictions that these term policies will give where they won't pay if you decide to put a policy on, say, one of your grandkids or one of your children or any other relative? will there be a restriction saying, wait a minute, no, that accidental death, or hey, if they live in that life that, hey, maybe any weekend you can watch TV and see them on news, are there restrictions that the insurance companies will set up based on how they will make that payment if by chance that 15-year policy, that 15-year policy that you have, there is someone that, hey, decide that they're not going to reside here anymore?
Well, I mean, let me make sure, because you said a couple of things. So, first of all, you got to qualify for life insurance, because insurance companies are professional risk takers.
Okay.
So you got to
with
qualify.
the risk taking, do they include lifestyle, the type of lifestyle that you live?
Yeah. Matter of fact, it was a young girl that's 34 years old, in fantastic shape. Matter of fact, the insurance company did an analysis on her, and they say, you so good in terms of, you like an athlete. So of course, yeah, we're going to insure you. And me and Tavares are so happy and everything. And they said, but one more thing now, we got to check the driver's record. They checked her, driver's record, and they said, Lord have mercy.
How many tickets?
That child got a speeding tickets every other month. She had parking tickets. She had speeding tickets. The insurance company declined her. I said, oh, you trying to tell me this girl is like an athlete? She's young,
as far as health,
perfect blood pressure, health, all good, and y'all not going to insure her because of her driving record? I say, Robert, we're professional risk takers. We got to pay if you die. So we don't know how she gonna die. The way she driving, getting them many speeding tickets, chances are one day she gonna get killed when she's driving around them highways, and we got to pay all this money. So they say, no, we're not gonna insure this fool. No. And I couldn't even argue with them. Could you? If you was an insurance company and somebody speeding, like getting tickets and speeding, and got like 5 speeding tickets in 1 year, that means she like to go fast, and odds are gonna catch up with her. My grandma used to say, the washer don't get you, the rinse will. Sooner or later, you're gonna get yours. So if you speeding so many times, one day, in Russian roulette, that bullet gonna come out. So they didn't insure. Yes. Now, if you're a grandparent, if you want to get insurance on your grandson 10 years old, your grandson 15 years old, or your grandson 18 years old. First, if it's 18 or younger, they don't have to take no blood and urine. They don't. Because insurance company, think about this. They figure like they're young and vibrant. They probably don't have, they're going to have to ask any question. Have they been healthy? Do they have problems? Or you say no, and they say, okay, we'll insure them. But grandma can't get $100,000 on her little grandson if grandma don't have no life insurance. So think about this. Insurance company say, okay, you want to get $100,000 on your grandson. Matter of fact, you got a grandson and a granddaughter. And the reason why you want to get insurance on that, where the mom at? And you say, well, the mama ain't doing too well. They say, okay. Where the daddy at? Well, we don't know where the daddy at. Okay. So you want to get $100,000 on your 2 grandkids because they living with you, right? Yeah. So the insurance company started thinking, okay, we got to see if these people trying to con us. So the insurance company, okay. So the insurance company said, okay, ma'am, we will give with no blood and urine, we will give a policy for your grandson and your granddaughter. Your grandson 15, your granddaughter 18. No blood and urine. And then the insurance company say, but one more thing. You know how the Columbo movie, he said, one more thing. Insurance company say, by the way, grandma, do you have any life insurance on you? And grandma say, me? No. And then the insurance company say, well, hold on, I see this movie before. So you don't have no life insurance on you. The mama ain't got no life insurance, and y'all know where the daddy at. And you want us to put $100,000 life insurance on these 2 kids that we can't even see? We don't even know where y'all at. How we know you ain't gonna kill them too? And we gotta pay $200,000 and all y'all come up. How we know that? We ain't talked to y'all. How we know that? In order for you to put $100,000 on each of them grandkids, you got to have some insurance on you too, Grandma. And unless you have that, we ain't insuring them because we smell a rat. Now, does that make sense, y'all? Would y'all, if y'all insuring, would you insure? Because you remember, insurance company, you can't see the people. You got to take Robert Henderson, word for it in the application. I have to paint the picture. I have to say, no. Matter of fact, we getting life insurance on Grandma too.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say that. And then, okay, so Grandma have life insurance on her. Now she want to get kids. Okay, now we will insure. That makes sense, right? Okay.
Right. Yeah. Now, but age does. Excuse me. Age does make a difference in the type of, or what I say, the amount. What I say with the amount. Does age make a difference on the amount that you pay?
Yeah. They're not. Think about this too. Let's act like we're an insurance company, okay? Because it's got to be reasonable. I told you, insurance companies are professional risk takers. If you take the bet, if you won't take a bet, they definitely ain't gonna take no bet. If you say, nah, I ain't doing, they ain't doing it. Okay, think about this. Here you are. You got a 3-year-old. And you say that you want to put $1 million on a 3-year-old life insurance. So they say, okay, well, usually people put life insurance. The whole principle of life insurance is for the protection against premature death. You put life insurance on Daddy because Daddy working and paying the mortgage and paying the rent and bringing the money home so we could eat. So if he die, we ain't gonna have nothing. So we need to insure his life. You put life insurance on someone because you want to protect a loss that's going to have an economic detriment. That's going to be detrimentally if that person died. The money not going to flow.
An impact on the family.
Right. Just like you put auto insurance on your car just in case somebody hit it. Then you need to get another car. You need to get some insurance to pay. So you can get another car. So the principal reason for life insurance is for the protection of premature death. So now you got a 3-year-old and you call and say you want to put $1 million on a 3-year-old. So if we insurance company, we're going to ask why. I mean, the 3-year-old movie star or something?
What kind of income they bringing in, right?
Yeah, right. The 3-year-old an influencer. And if all of a sudden they die, y'all ain't going to get that money. What is the 3-year-old doing when y'all need $1 million on a 3-year-old? Does that make sense, y'all? Now, if y'all migrant workers and you want to put $1 million on all your little kids, that's suspect because somebody want to fall on the sword and y'all may kill them and then y'all want to get that $1 million. No, they're not going to do that. Now, if I write a letter, Robert Henderson, and say, well, this 3-year-old is a star in a commercial. Y'all see a Disney star. Then they'll say, okay, we can insure her life because she's a Disney World star or something. She's in a Disney movie or something. Then they'll do that. It has to make sense. You know what I mean? Now, I've gotten life insurance on a 3-year-old. We do it all the time, but it ain't $1 million. It'll probably start off with 100 or 200,000, and every year it'll automatically increase as that person get older. That's how we would write it. But just to come out and say, hey, I got a 3-year-old, I want to get $1 million. That's suspect. And most insurance companies say, heck no. And then they'll ask you, well, how much you got on you? You got to have at least 2 times the amount of what you're trying to put on the child. Isn't that something? That's the parameters. Okay. Right. So,
okay, good.
So this morning we're talking about going through the lessons, reflecting on our lives, what we didn't do, what we should have did. Now we want to teach our loved ones, nephews, children, grandkids. You want to tell them exactly what to do. So you got this job and they're withholding, and you got these benefits, and they give you group benefits, and then you get the group term. I told you I want you to go also and get another, if you can afford a cash value, if you can't, get a term insurance, but a convertible term, so you can convert it at the same age and save your age 10 years from now, 20 years from now. When you get ready to convert it, it's going to look like you're still young. and you're still healthy. Even though your health may change when you do a convertible term, it locks in when your health was perfect. You follow me? So that's what I
Mhm.
like about that. Okay, so now once you get that protection, you got that because you may leave that job, but you still have not only group term, but when you leave the job, the group term ends, but you have your own life insurance protection that you can take with you forever. That's the
Can you
second.
keep that group term, Rob? Rob,
No, the
will
group
some
group term,
companies
you
allow
ain't in a
you?
group no more. You're not in a group no more. You're gone.
Okay, once you leave,
You
you
ain't in a group
can't.
no more. Yeah,
Okay,
you
all right.
yeah. You can keep a
Not
group.
even
You ain't in a
not
group.
even if you're retiring and you're getting retirement.
If you retire and they say you can keep it, they're gonna say you keep it to the age 70 or to pay age
Oh, okay.
75. After that,
All
they know
right.
you're gonna die, so it terms out.
Right.
They
Okay.
they professional risk takers. They ain't gonna have it keep the group term forever because they know you're gonna die and they gotta pay, especially
And
paying
so
them.
the company will then have you pay to extend that policy once you've retired, if they give you that option.
If they do that,
Right.
but use this high, the premium go up higher. Okay, because it's not a
Okay.
group anymore. All right.
All right.
Anything in groups, less of the pain for you. It's like James. If I want to buy a property, I buy it by myself. But if I buy it with you, then it's gonna be less because then I have to come out of my pocket because we're gonna split it. So group means the insurance gonna cost you less. That's why on the company benefits, you sign up for a new job and you get group benefits is always cheaper because it's the whole group. Company might have 1,000 employees or 10,000 employees or 100,000 employees. So the cost is lesser when it's in a group. When you leave
Right.
the group, your prices go up because now you got to foot the whole bill. Okay, so we know in the whole scheme of things, financial planning, when you get a job, you get your benefits, and now you got your insurance, you covered. The next thing is they talk about investments. Now, most people don't know what a 401k is. They don't know what XYZ fund and all the stuff they tell you to select. Some of them give you Fidelity, some of them give you Vanguard, some of them give you T. Rowe Price. But basically, 95% of people don't know what the heck they got. They just want to save some money. But you should, at that point, start saving at least 10% of what you earn. Now, let's talk about that. When you're reflecting and going back on your life, some of you did, some of you all are good savers, and some of you are Freddy Krueger horrible savers. And you was a horrible saver when you was 21 years old. Now you 51. Damn it, you still a horrible saver. And if you reflect, you see how you didn't save. You still doing the same thing. That's like the man got married 4 times, kept marrying the same woman over different names, places, but you ain't going to the next level. You got to be able to change and say, oh man, I did that. I got to make some changes. I can't keep going for Juicy Lucy's. I can't keep going with the high and tight one with the long hair and blonde. I can't keep going for that. I need to change that and go a different way. You follow a different mindset. But until you change and get a new thought and do things different way, you're gonna stay stuck. So a lot of people been broke for a long time. Oh Lord. There's a lot of people been broke for a long time.
And they're just not under the bridge either.
Right. But they've been living paycheck to paycheck for a long time.
But Rob, Dr. Claude Anderson was saying a part of that is that we haven't recovered from that mindset, that mentality. We got stuck and we didn't get help.
What do you mean?
Well, because Rob, hey, we were told go to school, get an education, get a job, and many of us did that. And as you would say, you got the paper on the wall, but you're not working in the area that you quote unquote got your degree in. Jobs weren't available, and you had needs that had to be met. So you accepted an offer, and you did not get into building or creating. So we get, and as you say, sometimes we get so in a rut that we spend everything that we earn, and we put more on the card. So all of a sudden, we have no hope of change. We don't think we can do better.
Well, you can't really, and all that what you just said is true, but you can't really blame anybody but yourself.
Okay.
Let me. Okay,
Rob, they ain't blaming. They're doing the OJs. They're living for the weekend.
Yeah,
and vacation and going on a cruise or something.
but to be broke for a long time, living paycheck for years, if you
Rob,
reflect and say,
people doing it. People doing it,
okay,
Rob. I'm sorry.
well, I know people doing it, James, but we deserve what we get.
Okay. Mr. Dupree, help him. Pray for her.
If you continue to do, like I just said, if you're doing math and you keep coming up 5 + 5 is 11, you can't get mad at the teacher.
No, Rob, that's just it. They're not mad, but they're not changing. And that's
Oh,
what our program is about. We want to encourage them
well,
to
well,
say, hey, let's change.
well, James, I'm reminded of our sister Harriet Tubman when they
Oh,
gave her
oh,
all
oh,
kind of
oh, oh.
when they gave her all kind of accolades and say, "Man, Harriet, we just want to reward you for so many slaves that you saved." And she wasn't really satisfied. And they said, "Why?" And she says, "Because she said she could have saved even more had they knew they were slaves." Okay, so let's go back to what you're saying. There are some people that are happy and broke. There are some people that continue to do the same thing and they fine. And I'm not worrying about them
Okay.
because our message is for the people who want to be free, the people who want change and didn't know you could change. Some people didn't know that you could follow Harriet and go down the Freedom Road, the new Underground Railroad, the Underground Railroad, and get free. Some people didn't know. Some people knew and they said they weren't going to go. So what we're saying in terms of the principles of prosperity, it's not like the people haven't heard it. Some people never heard it, but most people have heard it and they still do the same thing. You know that if you eat more, take in more calories than you burn, you're going to get fat. So you can't look at a fat man and say,
Stop. Stop, Rob. I may have taken you off course.
I'm talking principle. You cannot. A drunk is not a only reason why a drunk is a drunk because he has not heard that if he drank a whole alcohol bottle that he gonna get drunk. He heard it, he still do it anyway. So therefore, I'm not talking or trying to change another man or woman. My conversation is for people who want to hear something and make a change.
Okay.
I'm here to talk to people who want to get a new thought and said, "Oh, I didn't know you could do it that way." That's what I'm all about. Because according to universal law, nobody outside can change you on the inside. You have to do the changing. We learned that from Jesus. Jesus had 12 of them around him. So that's why I do understand. I do understand, but you have to want to be free. You have to want to have a better life. Nothing changes until you change. And that Mr. Dupree said their environment supports that lifestyle. And until that fire for better starts to burn in them, there's no real need for change from their perspective. And that's true. I mean, there are a lot of people who like being a junkie. I read a book. A professor loves heroin. He's a professor at a college. He loves heroin. He loves it and he functions. He's a functioning addict. There are functioning drunks. So it only changes when you want to change. When you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, nothing changes until you can have a son and say, "Son, that lady, that girlfriend you got, she mean you no good." He love her. He knows she cheat on him. She do everything. We see it, but not until he is tired of it. Nobody can change you until you decide to change. So all the people that continue to do broke stuff and be broke, you not until they ready to go, leave. You could talk to them until you blue in the face. And I'm gonna tell you why this is true. You can only change the things that you create. If you did not create him or her, you can't change it. It's against universal law for you to change. You can't change a red flower to a yellow flower because you didn't create it. Who created it? If God created it, God can change it. You can't. I can't. Another outside person cannot change a person because it violates universal law. I remember one time I had some people working with me long time ago, and they left. And they said, Henderson, we're going to sue you and bring you down. And I say, hold on. How you going to sue me and bring me down? They said, we're going to sue you. We're going to take you to court and sue you because we think that you should have paid us more money. I say, hold on. You just said something. You say you're going to bring me down. I said, according to scripture, according to ancient rules and laws, no one can bring down anything unless they put it up. So I told him, I said, if you didn't put me up, it's impossible for you to bring me down. Now, if you put me up, you could bring me down. But if you are not responsible for my growth and my learning, oh, it's impossible. This, who you think you is, Jesus? I said, no, I'm just going on math. I'm just going on a formula. You cannot destroy something that you didn't create. If it is, it's against violation. It's against universal law, and you will pay for that. But you can't do it. It's impossible. It really is. That's why if you got a job and they gave you that job, they can fire you. But if you got your own, who gonna fire Henderson? My name is Henderson. My name is Rob.
That other person gonna fire Henderson is Henderson.
Yeah. Only person fire Henderson is Henderson. Okay, so we gotta move along, man. Cause oh man, James, man, you stopped my sermon. You got me off. You got me off in principles. I want to go through job. Then so remember, you got the job, you got the paycheck, right? You got the paycheck, then you got the benefits. Now, once you get the paycheck and get the benefits, insurance, and all that kind of stuff, group term and all that, now you need to work on budget. Now, I know people don't want to work on no budget because the budget is the truth. The budget tells you how much is coming in and how much you able to spend. And most people don't want to see that. They want to put some fairy dust on it, and that like it ain't true. But you got to look at a budget, because a budget is similar to when each and every one of us, if we have a car, when we get ready to get in that car, if you got any kind of forethought or sense, you're going to at least look at that gas meter to see how far you can go. That's if you're a planner. Now, you may be young and dumb and just get in there and drive and never look at the gas meter, you know? I have done that. I mean, I just figure I've go, oh Lord, the light came on. Thank God that light came on. I've been so busy. I need to put gas all week, and I didn't think about it. Thank God that light, you know. And a matter of fact, in the past, probably 20 years ago, I have actually didn't even look at the gas meter. And next thing I know, I'm like, oh, why this car stopping? Like, oh Lord, I'm out of gas. Shame on me. See, that's a budget. That is a budget. You have got to at least know how far you can go, and do you have to replenish it. So a budget is just an indicator to let you know what you can spend, how much you can spend, and how much you have to go until you get more petrol, more gas, another paycheck. You got to be able to look at it. Now, some people like to just, when they get their money coming in, they like to spend on things and stuff, and they feel like next week they're gonna get paid. They're gonna get paid. That's like getting more gas, and then they can refill. But that's okay. But you gotta put some gas aside. In other words, you gotta put some money aside. At least put 10% aside. Now, what we today, y'all, we reflecting on what we should have done. Some of us doing, but we're going back to financial planning because I want to actually go from when you first got the job, what you was thinking, because I want to go from budget, I want to go to investing, I want to go to real estate, I want to go to wealth building, type of wealth building, and then I want to go to retirement planning, and then I want to go to wills and trust. But we dissecting this. I may have to do this, James, on
Okay.
so we're gonna do this on a
Part
series.
one. We just did part one of the series. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
we're going, but Rob, just as simple as you made it with that budget, Rob, I'm telling you, I don't know if it's the age, that this is a new age. But Rob, I'm willing to bet you that we could pick out any 20 people, and it may not even have one person who can say we have a budget that we follow this, but weekly, monthly, whatever it is.
You know, 100.
Hey,
you talking about 20? It's 100 to 1.
Yeah, Rob. But
bad.
so that's why I'm saying my whole thing is, and I know you say, hey, let them be, but is there enough of those ones out of 100 that would have an impact, on our communities? Because, hey, even though we're going to be here till 120, so that gives me another 50 plus years, but the fact is, I don't know all that I can do in these next 50 plus years, and we have to have people to do it with, just like when we saw these young people, hey, I mean, teaching them, budget, that, hey, I mean, saying that's got to be a part of not just the curriculum, that's got to be a part of the Sunday school teaching, the in-home teaching. But if they don't see parents doing it, and if parents aren't emphasizing the importance of it, Rob, they'll come up like parents, right?
No, that's true. Like, environment does play a part. Like Ms. Dupree just says, she's asked, can we begin these steps at any age? Of course you can. You know why, Ms. Dupree? You can these steps I'm talking about at any age, because it's principle. These are not Robert's rules.
Yeah.
These are principle. Just like, that's like saying, can everybody see the sun? I mean, if you got eyes, you can see it. Oh, does everybody get a chance to experience night? Yeah.
Right.
You got
any adult 18 or over, I'm willing to bet you they spend more than they earn because of that little card.
What James, the reason, okay, here again, if you keep doing the same thing, you're gonna keep getting the same results. That's math.
But Rob, they like that professor that was on that heroin. Man, I've been preaching this for years about, hey, as a matter of fact, I want to spend less than I earn.
Okay, but James, you've been preaching it, but you have to come to the realization that, you really don't want to aggravate or stress yourself, because there are 3 types of people in this world, and everybody fits into one of these 3 types of people. There are people that change. There are people that when they hear what they are told, there's some people that when you tell them something, they're just not going to change. There's some people that know. There's some people that know when they're told. And there's some people that will never know. I'm going to say it again. Now, each and every one of y'all that see me and hear me, I want you to look at yourself. I'm going to say it again. There's 3 types of people on the planet. Only 3 types. I don't care if you Chinese, Indian, black, white, Spanish, whatever you are. There's only 3 types of people. People that see when they're told, and people who just won't never see. So let's talk. Let's think about that. The people who see, those are gifted people. They just see. They see the light. You wonder how they know. You could look at a 6-year-old and see the 6-year-old got more sense than the 56-year-old. You're like, this person here. You know, there are some 6-year-olds that will actually walk out of your house and go in the neighbor's pool and jump in there and drown. There are some 6-year-olds that I ain't getting in that water. There's some 6 years old that see a gun laying on the table and pick that gun up and pull the trigger. There's some 6-year-olds say, "Oh Lord, that's a gun. I ain't going nowhere near that." Again, there are 3 type of people: those who see, and we wonder, that's an old spirit. Those who see. The next type, those who see when they are told. Now, those are born again people. They thought this, and then they learned that. Those thought that Christopher Columbus discovered America because that's what we was told. We got grades on that. Some of us failed that test, some of us got, but we went through high school learning and being taught that Christopher Columbus discovered America. But when we was told, when we found out, we say, Lord, that's a lie. And some people right now was told the truth and still don't believe it. So people just see. Some people see when they're told. They learn, oh, I was going the wrong way. Let me turn this around. Oh, I had Juicy Lucy. She was spending all my money and cheating on me. Oh, I see now. I see you, Juicy. Bye-bye. They make a change. The third person is, you could talk to them until they blue in the face. Until you blue in the face. You just crying. Oh, you sound like wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. You said, I told you to get them. I told you to get a job. I told you this was going to happen. I told you. They like, you sound, this is what you sound like them. Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. And you like, they don't understand me? No, they can't, they don't.
Time is up, Rob.
But once you're talking to someone, you should have the gift or the power of discernment. Who am I talking to? Someone who sees? Who am I talking to? Someone who sees when they told? Or who am I talking to? I'm telling this fool and they just keep on doing the same thing. When the ones that keep doing the same thing, don't be wasting your time, because the Proverbs say, flee from a fool. Otherwise, you're going to hurt yourself. All right, Mr. Priest say, the soil needs tilling. It most likely won't happen overnight. That's right. Oh, Jesus. Man, you know what, man? We done went 10 minutes over. Okay, so listen, we're going to do part. So I got the job, I got the budget, I got the group insurance. Then what's group insurance? You get your own insurance. Now I want to say, okay, once you start saving at least 10%, I'm going to tell you why you need to start saving something for yourself. You got to start saving something for yourself, man. You know, one of my favorite movies was Shawshank Redemption. You know what I liked about, dang, James, what happened to you? You turned off? What I liked about Shawshank Redemption is, Andy was doing that time, but he was steady digging a hole. That's like saving. He was steady digging a hole so he can get out of prison, because them fools weren't going to let him out of prison. So what he did was he was tilling. In other words, he was got to have a plan. So that the principle there is, if you are working, you still should be saving at least some money so you can get away. So when you get ready to leave master plan, you can have something. Okay, I know I'm going too long, but listen, I'm gonna pick this back up because I got to go through all the steps from when you started as a young, because I want you to be able to reflect on yourself, because it's not too late. It's not too late. If it's good and it's right, it's not too late. It's never too late as long as you got a pulse, as long as you breathe, as long as you're in your right mind, it's not too late. Okay? And then I want you to be able to articulate this and be able to talk to your loved ones, with your grandchild or your children, and tell them also, all right? You can play this back, but I got to go because James, she done signed off and we ain't getting no prayer. So I'm going to say the prayer. God, thank you, help us, give us some more sense, open our eyes to the ones who's supposed to be able to see. I want y'all to be safe. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Matter of fact, I'm going to be in New York next Saturday. Oh, man. So I may have to go to the following Saturday. But anyway, same time, if you need some counseling, if you want to talk about budgeting, financial planning, call 305. Wonderful weekend. Peace and one love. Bye. Well, Miss, all right, y'all learned something. All right, good. Great show. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Peace. Love y'all.